Does whipped icing need to be refrigerated? Of course, refrigeration is a must since there is heavy whipping cream in it. With that, store your unused whipped cream in the fridge. You can do so for approximately 2 days. In addition to that, if you utilized it as a cake filling. Likewise, you placed it on a cake. It would be best if you put the whole cake in the refrigerator. And be sure to eat your whipped icing within 2 days. Does whipped icing need to be refrigerated? Essentially, you can use whipped cream as a filling between cake layers. Please note that it can be an excellent replacement for a more sophisticated frosting. Also, try utilizing it as a decorative finish on different cake slices. Nevertheless, it is best if you store the whipped cream in the refrigerator. Keep in mind that when you beat whipped cream, its butter fat is sufficiently firm to develop bubbles. With that, it usually occurs when it is cold. As a result, it produces the standard airy and light texture. Also, the fat turns too soft at room temperature. In so doing, it traps the air. Consequently, unrefrigerated whipped cream will collapse. For that reason, it will make it unpalatable. Always remember that the foam will stay stable as long as you whisk in softened gelatin. With that, make sure to do this once the cream has started to develop soft peaks. Storing buttercream icing. For the most part, buttercream icing keeps exceptionally well when you store it in an airtight container. Moreover, if you put it in the fridge, it will last for approximately a week. Likewise, it can last for about 3 to 4 months in the freezer. On the contrary, if you intend to eat the buttercream soon, you can leave it out. Do it at cool room temperature for 24 hours. When you have frozen buttercream frosting, make sure to let it thaw in the fridge overnight. Before re-whipping it, ensure to bring it to room temperature. Doing this is indeed helpful if making buttercream months ahead of time. Likewise, it applies if you have leftover frosting you like to use in the future. Leftover buttercream. If you like to make extra buttercream on purpose, you should consider a handful of things. Keep in mind that having leftover buttercream is convenient. But, before anything else, what type of color and flavor does not matter. It will indeed have different purposes when you reuse it. For one thing, be sure to put uncolored and unflavored buttercream in the freezer. Because of this, it would be easy for you to mix it with a new batch. Also, you can use flavored buttercream for other cupcakes and cakes. In addition to that, you might as well utilize it as a spread on a small set of cookies. Does icing expire? First and foremost, yes, it does expire. In that regard, you should know that icing has a best before date and not a use by date. It is common for many other baking products. In that regard, make sure to use the icing for baking recipes after the best before date has expired. Likewise, it is indeed best to enjoy the icing before its expiration date. Always remember that icing can be thin or thick. In addition to that, you can cook it such as boiling icing. Or you can leave it uncooked like buttercream frosting. Nevertheless, it is usually sweet. The main reason is that it starts with sugar as the base. So how does one know if the icing has expired? Bear in mind that it is always necessary to practice proper hygiene, including food safety methods. With that, you can tell expired icing when there is a slightly dark color change. Furthermore, the aroma will not be pleasant anymore, and the icing's texture will become thicker. Not only those, but also the taste will tell you for sure if it has turned sour. How to lengthen icing's shelf life. Please take note that the most effective technique is to store it in its original unopened container. After that, make sure to place it in the pantry. However, once you open it, ensure to keep it in the fridge. Talk about whipped icing refrigerated. Although, you should exclude pressed decorating cans and squeezable decorating tubes in the refrigerator. The main reason is that you should put them in the pantry. Consequently, not storing them there will make them too hard to flow out of the can or tube. Bear in mind that there are indeed many benefits of proper food storage. These include cutting food costs, helping the environment by preventing unnecessary waste and eating healthier. How to keep the homemade whipped cream. Remember, you can freeze whipped cream, may it be plain, unsweetened, or sweetened. Moreover, whipped cream stabilized with cream cheese or cornstarch will maintain its shape better when thawed. That is why it is best to store the frozen whipped cream in a freezer container. Make sure to do this for 1 to 2 days. Step-by-step instructions. Step 1. Ensure to line a baking sheet with parchment paper. After that, spoon the whipped cream. Be sure to do it on top in small mounds. Step 2. Then, make sure to freeze it overnight. With that, freeze it till the whipped cream is solid. Step 3. Next, make sure to transfer the frozen whipped cream mounds to a freezer bag. Likewise, you can store it in another freezer container. Do not worry too much if the edges slightly crumble as you handle the mounds, since it is normal. Also, keep in mind that it is best to keep whipped cream within a month. Step 4. Afterward, put it directly on top of hot coffee or cocoa. In addition to that, you can set the mounds on top of a dessert. With that, gently place it on top of your dessert. Then, make sure to thaw at room temperature. Lastly, be sure to thaw it for about 15 minutes before you serve it. If you liked this video, don't forget to like and subscribe.